Welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barry Griffiths. Now today we have Leslie Awasom. Leslie is the Director of Operations and co-founder of Excite Capital Investment, LLC. He managed the company operations, market data and analysis, cash flow, and budget analysis. Leslie bought his first investment property in 2017 and transitioned to multifamily investing in 2019. In 2019, Leslie partnered and invested in a 192 unit apartment project as a limited partner. In 2020, Leslie and his partners Julius and Tenny acquired a 49 unit Class A in institutional grade asset in Washington, D.C. Leslie is a nurse anesthetist in Baltimore, Maryland, and his team hosts a rapidly growing multifamily focused meetup in Maryland where they provide resources and add value to the individuals interested in growing their wealth and changing their financial future. Leslie is a husband and a father of two beautiful girls and loves to spend his spare time reading and drone flying. So that's quite the intro there. I had trouble reading it.
Not as good as yours, Barry. I wish I could add WWE to the back of my intro. I don't have the muscles like you.
You have the smile, that's for sure. So
thank you.
Thank you for being here. It's
Thanks
a real pleasure to have you on, to take time out of your day to be in this interview and to share with everyone what you have going on. I really appreciate it. Do you want to give everyone, I know I read a brief bio about yourself, but do you want to give a brief background into what your history is and where you are now with things?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me on your platform and giving us this opportunity to share our journey with your listeners and hopefully be able to network and meet other like-minded people. So pretty much my investigation into real estate dates back to maybe 2008 when I graduated from nursing school as a new graduate nurse. Around 2008 was when the financial crisis was happening. So as a new employee, I saw older employees that have been in the hospital I was working at. They had been at that same job for about 30, 40 years, and some of them were getting ready for retirement, and a few of them lost a significant portion of their 401k to the market crash. And watching them go through that trauma really scared me and left this feeling inside of me. I remember promising myself that I never want to put myself in that position, but I just wasn't quite sure what direction to take. So I stayed in my job, keep working, still questioning a lot of stuff. Around that time too, there was a lot of news about the financial markets and everything that's going on, a lot of the corruption that was happening in Washington and all of that. So I was just questioning a lot of things, but not sure what direction to take. So I made the decision to go back to grad school thinking that having a higher paying job or more income will be the best thing for me to do. So I got a degree in anesthesia, specialized in anesthesia. So I'm an anesthesia provider, nurse anesthetist. And it's a great high paying job, very good job. I enjoy doing it, love the value that I give to my patients. But I felt like there's a ceiling of growth once you're in the W-2 career. So while I was happy with the paycheck that I was getting, being able to take care of my family, I felt like there was more for me out there. I needed to grow a little bit more. So around that same time, while I was going through this thinking process, I came across an article on Yahoo News that talked about Robert Kiyosaki writing a new book for millennials that talks about how to deal with student loans and financial issues, and which was my situation at that point in time. So I bought the book. The name of the book is Second Chance at Your Money and Your Life. So and when I started reading the book, it felt like that was somebody that I needed in my life at that point in time, telling me exactly what I needed to hear. Answering all those questions that I've been asking over the years, answering all those questions about the financial system, teaching me about money, teaching me things that I never knew, that I never gotten at any point in my life, and so I was open at that point to receiving information. So I followed every step that he recommended in the book. Some of the things he said was like, read books from autobiographies from other successful people, read books on business, read books on mindset. So I started doing that. Talked about networking. I started going to local RIA networking events and meeting other real estate investors, and finally took the plunge and bought my first investment property in 2017. did a buy, renovate, rent and refinance model, and that worked spectacular. It worked really great, you know. So to me, that was like the proof of concept. That's when the light bulb really went out. And the other thing is, while I was doing that, I really enjoyed it. Like going to the project on a daily basis and managing the contractors, making sure everything is done, and conceptualizing what I wanted the apartment to look at in the beginning and seeing it at the end. You know, I received enormous amount of joy from that, and putting a tenant in there and seeing how appreciative the tenant is for having a home. So that whole process was like, made me realize that this is where I need to be. This is where I need to focus my attention. And so along that journey of the single family investing, I met my partner, my initial partner, Tenny. He was in financial services trying to do a presentation for me. We found that we shared the same concepts. So got joined together, started Excite. Then not too long, right after that, our third partner, we work in the same hospital. He invests in single families too. So we were having a conversations about real estate and mindset and stuff, and realized that we are kind of on the similar thinking process and similar path. So all three of us came up and we co-founded Excite Capital Investment, and it's been an amazing journey ever since.
Wow.
I hope I didn't take too much of the time there
No,
talking.
absolutely not. I was loving that story. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the story. You said so many great things. For one, I enjoyed how you were saying that, you know, the book about, most people when they talk about Robert Kiyosaki, there's a different book they have in mind, right? Rich
Yeah,
Dad
reach
Poor
that
Dad.
point.
But,
Yeah.
you know, it was a different book, but it doesn't matter, right? It's more about opening your eyes to what is possible and what is out there. I think that's what his books do to most people. I know that's what happened to me. I didn't understand, you know, what a liability and what an asset was beforehand, but, you know, just having that explained. And I think also it's something really interesting you said, that book reached you, you know, because I was talking to someone the other day about Rich Dad Poor Dad, and so many people reference it as the first book they ever read, or that's what gets them into real estate. But I also know a lot of people that's read that book that hasn't invested a day in their life. And I think it, like Hugh's touched on there, it depends on when it touches you and when it reaches you. You know, you can read that book and not take away anything from it, or you can read that book and take everything for it. And it's got to reach you at the right time in your life and you be in that right mindset. So I think that's really fascinating that you said.
Absolutely, you hit the nail right on the head. When I read that book, then I went back and read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And probably if I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it probably would not have influenced me as it did, because at that time, I had gone through the process of questioning the financial system. I had gone through the educational system and accumulated a good amount of student loans. The stuff that he was talking over in that book was very, very relevant to my generation, to the people that were graduating from school at that point in time. So it hit me. And aside to that, because the other thing is, when I read the book, it really hit me. I bought like 5 copies of the book and sent to my friends, but it never hit any of them. It didn't make any sense to any of them. So another point thing is, at that point in time, I was at the point where I was questioning a lot. So I was open to more information. I was open to change. You know, I had accepted that what I was doing was not the ultimate. There had to be better out there. And if you don't have that, what they call like that childlike inquisitiveness to learn more, it's very tough for any of these concepts to get through.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree.
Yeah.
And I also loved how you said how you enjoyed the process of that first BRRRR method, the buy, renovate, rent, rehab, repeat, right?
Yes.
I find it really great that you really enjoyed that process, because I think that also, you know, a lot of investors that I speak to that are successful, they really enjoy what they do. I hear it time and time and time again. It's not a job. They get up in the morning and they're excited to do whatever aspect of what they're going to do, because they love it. And I think that helps tremendously. Now, you can be successful even if you don't like it. You can make it work. But I think that's definitely a huge component of success if you love what you do.
Absolutely. Like a lot of us have gone through the educational system and have gotten jobs that we probably don't like. That is not 100%, but it pays the bills and we've been successful at it. You know, so you could be successful if you do something you don't like, but once you find that thing that you like, like you said, it doesn't feel like work. You know, I said I wake up every morning at 4:30 in the morning without even an alarm clock. And I am excited to jump out of bed to get my morning routine going and to get my day going, to start thinking about my business. You know, I'll go out to the markets. I could spend 12, 13 hours in the market running, but I really enjoy that stuff, you know, but again, it appeals to me. It makes sense to me. So that's why I'm in it. And I'm very grateful that I found that, because a lot of people, you can go through life for a very long period of time and you never really find that thing that you really enjoy doing. So I'm grateful that I'm where I am right now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm very happy you found something that you're so passionate about.
Thank you.
That first deal, so you said you did very well in it, about it. Do you mind talking to us a little bit about how much you bought it for, what the renovation was, what kind of work you had to do, and then what you ended up doing with it, and if you still own it, kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. We still own it. I actually purchased it together with my younger brothers. So it was an estate sale. It was in the market. I think it was like $91,000. So went over there. I'd been talking to this realtor. He's the guy that sold me my house. So he knew that area very well. So he found the deal and called us and said, "You better jump on this because I know this area very well and things are gonna grow up in this area." So we went to the place. I looked at it and I asked him, I'm like, "So what do you think the rehab cost would be?" It's like, maybe like 6 or 7,000. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Needless to say, I don't know how much we spent. We spent double that amount and maybe a little bit more, you know. But again, I made some mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. You know, the excitement. Yeah, I'll give you like one silly mistake that I made. It's like I went over there, you know, all pumped up on some of these flip shows that you watch, and so I did all like the demolition and all that stuff, but I did not complete all the demolition. Then I paid for somebody to come and get the trash out, and there was still more demo left to be done. So I paid for trash removal twice. Rookie mistake. You know, like simple mistakes like that I made, but finally got a contractor to come over there, look at everything and did the work. And again, that turned out, although we went over budget on the renovation, ended up getting a tenant in there in about a couple of months. The tenant has been in there. Then at that point in time, the values of that neighborhood started creeping up, just like my realtor said. So when it was time to refinance, I see the value of the property had gone up by like 77,000. So looking at that, right, you own a property for about 6-7 months, and then you look at the value, it's like $77,000. That's how much money I got to work at the W-2 for, like how many months before I make. So looking at that, I was like, man, this is really good. This is what, and on top of that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed bringing the tenant in there, managing the property. I still manage it to this day. The tenant, we still have the same tenant in that property to this day. So it's a Section 8 program, and it's been great with everything that's going on. The government still pays. So again, it's that proof of concept. That's the one that got me started, and I really enjoyed the process. Yeah.
Yeah, and they say a lot of times the most important deal you'll do is your first one, regardless of the numbers. It's that, exactly like you said, the proof of concept, and to prove yourself that you can do it and to see what's possible. And once you've done one, I don't know about yourself. Once I did my first one, I was like, well, this isn't so scary. This isn't
it's not
so bad. It's just, you know, sign on a piece of paper to get under contract and then just manage people. And it really isn't that bad. It's not as scary as all the scary stories I've heard of.
No, it's not. It's not. You know, but as us human beings, it's like our nature to look for something to be afraid of. So especially when something is new, something that is not used to, we come up with all these irrational fears, which is something that I've dealt with, that I keep dealing with, that I keep having to overcome on a daily basis. But that's how the growth happens.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. How do you overcome that? Do you have some strategies that to overcome those beliefs? I know we all have them, and it's a challenge every day.
I just face it. I just take, what I've learned is I just take action. I challenge it, because I've listened to a lot of books on mindset that talk about fear, you know, that false evidence appearing real and stuff. So what I've learned is the best way to face fear is to do the thing that you fear the most. And then you realize that you're not afraid. It's not that scary after all. Like I used to consider myself an introvert. Like having probably an interview like this probably would have been tough for me, you know, but like when we started our meetup, you know, my partner is the opposite of me, Tenny. He is like very outgoing, like a networker, like a super networker. So when we started our meetup, I remember how nervous I was just to meet people and stuff, you know, but doing it over time, over and over and over again, it gets better. Like, for example, I have this fear of height. So I saw a friend that went on a flight, that took flight lessons for his birthday and flew a small airplane. And I'm like, that's exactly what I need to do to overcome.
You did that?
I haven't done it yet, but I
Okay.
will. I
Wow.
will. I think that's what I'm gonna do to overcome my fear. Right? Literally, I love like that's why I fly drones, because I love looking at stuff from the top perspective at the bottom. It's just very beautiful to look at things from the top, or how everything is organized and stuff. But I don't know why I have this fear of height. So I think that's something I'm going to put on my bucket list, and I'm going to do at some point in time.
Well, fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that, because
Yeah.
that's definitely
Hopefully I don't die.
the other way is to do a bungee jump, I guess. Right? I've heard people doing that as well. I think that's a little bit harsher. I think that's really
Yeah.
But you're so true. I think so many times we build things up in our heads that is 10 times worse than what it is in reality. We can create monsters in our head of things that really aren't that bad. And once you do it, so many times I find myself doing this. I'll do something and I realize, wow, that wasn't bad at all. That wasn't
Exactly.
You know, we build it up in our heads, but that's great. I'm glad you're facing your fears and you're doing that. So you mentioned there a little bit about your meetup. So how long have you been doing your meetup? Talk to us a little bit about your meetup. What made you want to start about it? What kind of how do you set it up and whatnot?
We started our meetup April of 2019. Like one of the things I think when we got into multifamily, was learning a lot from a lot of the other experienced guys and a lot of different mentors. And one of the things in one of the books that we read earlier on by Joe Fellas was like create a top leadership platform. And then we looked around. We were going to meetups in Maryland. There were not too many multifamily meetups at that point in time. There were a lot of meetups on flips, a lot of meetups on wholesaling and stuff. So one day my partner just called me and said, you know what? He listened to this on the podcast again, and we're gonna start a meetup. I'm like, are you sure? What are we gonna talk about? He's like, no, we're gonna start it. And he went online, registered the meetup, and went and looked for a location and everything. And our very first meetup, the very first one we had, the first person that showed up was a friend of ours that has become a mentor that owns 4,000 units across the whole US. That's the very first person that showed up at that meetup. And he ended up being like our mentor and ended up helping us with the meetup. Like we just kind of delegated everything to him, and just like that, the next time he came again around, help us out. Then we started networking with other people, started meeting other people, and just like that, the meetup keeps growing. The whole concept of the meetup is to give as much value as we can offer, like bring like-minded people. We didn't see a lot of people in our communities that thought the way we thought. So the meetup was also another opportunity for us to meet other people that have the same desires or the same ideas, so we could synergize and learn from each other. So it has slowly been growing. I think as of now, we have maybe 500 to 600 people in our meetup group, and it keeps growing. So we have moved to the virtual format since the outbreak of COVID. We host every first Monday of the month, and we try to make sure we get like an expert in one aspect of the multifamily investing to come do a talk. Our next one is going to be very exciting. We have our Steven Pasavento talking about negotiations and some of the stuff that he learned from Chris Voss, the author of Never Split the Difference. So we're excited for that episode as well. So.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to make sure I register for that one, because
Absolutely.
I'm a fan of Chris Voss myself. I've read his book, Never Split the Difference. I don't know if you have. It's really interesting.
I have. It's a very good book. It's
right?
Yeah.
Really good, really good. I recommend that to anyone looking to improve their negotiations. Well, congratulations on your success and your meetup. I think meetups are a fantastic way to network and to grow those. To grow your network and the people around you. And like you said, you never know who you're going to meet, right? The very first person you meet is this extremely successful person that turns into a mentor to you. So, without setting up that meetup, you might not have never have got to that situation with them.
Yeah, and it just goes back to facing those fears. You see, you face the thing you fear the most, and that's where the biggest growth comes. And that has been true to me, like every point along the way. So yeah.
I love that. That's definitely something everyone can take away. Face your fears, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So then, so you did your first, that was the BRRRR. So what was your second one, your passive investment in the 172 unit? Was that your second
Yeah.
deal you did?
Yeah. So after the BRRRR, started looking around to purchase more single units and build up a portfolio. That's when I met my partner Tenny. We had offers on like 2 properties that we were on like the final phases, probably to get it 2 at once. But then we came across the stuff on multifamily and we abandoned that and said, this is where we need to be. This is where we are going to be long term. So it doesn't make any sense for us to spend any more time on anything else than to take this and focus on it 100%. So that's how we dived into multifamily and started in 2019. Towards the end of 2019, we got in on the 192 unit apartment in Georgia. That's with our advisors. So with that property, we had the opportunity to be part of the general partnership side. But as part of that, while we keeping the role that we had to occupy at site, we also had to bring in some funds on the equity side. And a couple of our investors backed out at the last minute, so we were unable to meet that fund drive. So we ended up putting in our own investment money in there, which is something we do with every deal anyway. And so we ended up on a limited partnership side. But what that deal did for us is it gave us the opportunity to take part in the due diligence of a complex of that size, because my partner was down there, took part in the due diligence, inspected the units themselves. So we took part in the whole transaction process, was able to see how things work in the background. Then as limited partners, we able to see, again, is another proof of concept of multi-firm. Once you start getting those checks, those passive checks, you now understand that this is real. This is not something that is just being put out there. And right after that, we took some of the lessons, the mistakes we thought we made from that project, build on that, developed ourselves. Then we just closed our raise on the 49 unit Class A project in DC. Closed our raise about a week ago. Got oversubscribed. Had to turn down some investors on that. So that's a very good one. So the close should happen in a few weeks, and at that point we should have 20 million under management. So we're
Wow.
excited for that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, if you don't mind, I'll just ask a few more questions on the deal that you did. How do you, on the passive deal that you did? So how did you find that investment group, and how did you decide that they were a group that you wanted to invest with?
So we were all part of, they are graduates of the same mentorship program that we signed up for. So when we got in the program, we kept hitting our mentors and asking them to find us any other experienced syndicators in the market that have been successful through this program. So they gave us a list of about 16. We reached out to every single one of them. Out of the 16, 3 of them gave us appointments, and 2 canceled. Then this one, we went to this appointment, had a conversation with one of the major partners of this group, and the synergy was there. In us, he saw in us where where him and his partner were a few years back. So and we liked him. We liked his philosophy, the way he looks alive, the way he treats his investors, the way his goals and his ambitions for the future. Because one of the things we talked about is we're not just gonna jump on any deal because we want to get a deal. It has to be with the right group. So everything about him made sense for us. And right there at that meeting, it was on a Monday that we met, and he asked us if we could fly to Atlanta on Thursday to be part of the due diligence, and we said yeah. So my partner jumped on the plane, and funny enough, on the flight down there, my partner was in the same flight with him, so he connected with them again a little bit more, got to know them. So we've become really good friends, and they are our advisors and mentors. They've been very influential in our growth, so we're very grateful to be part of that and to have them as part of our network.
Wow, that's great. You must have made a great first impression then for them to want to fly you out. You guys to fly out that soon.
No, they just gave it because they said, okay, we're gonna give you guys a shot. If you want it, jump on a plane and come to Atlanta. So we jumped on a plane and went over there. So
cool, taking again, right, facing your fears and taking action.
Exactly, take action. Don't make excuses. If the opportunity comes, you strike, and don't worry about because we overthink sometimes. You overthink yourself out of getting anything done. So
yeah. And I think what you mentioned there when you talk about the partnership is so important that, you know, anyone considering to go into partnership with someone, you've got to really think of it as a marriage. You know, do you want to be married to this person? They've got to have similar values to you. They've got to have similar goals, similar mindset, and similar outlook, you know, because otherwise they're going to be butting heads and it's going to be messy, right? And you're going to get a divorce on a, you know, if you're managing a large multifamily property, that's going to get messy. So it was really interesting for you to say that, you know, everything matched up, you know, and that's so important, I think, when you go into partnerships with people.
absolutely, you size the person up, make sure there's a nice fit, then you make sure everything is taken care of on the legal front, on the foundational basis, so you avoid any temptations or anything from happening. So yeah. So, but in this business, partnerships are important. It's a team sport. You know, when you want to go take down bigger properties, you can do it all on your own, or you could do it with somebody. You know, I've always enjoyed working with other people. I've had other partnerships in the past that haven't turned out great, but you know, I see the value in synergizing with people that share similar values, similar mindsets with you, and working out, moving forward. So,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful that I'm in that position right now. I have two great partners that I will work with, and we're excited for the future.
Yeah, you can go further with partners for sure.
Really.
So now you move on to your own deal. You know,
Yes.
you said you had that proof of concept, money's coming in, and also I'm sure you saw how they handled investor relationships, how they voted monthly or quarterly or whatever, and I'm sure that was a learning curve as well. So you picked up all these trees. Now you decide you're going to do your own deal, and you see a 49 unit that you have. Hopefully, it's going to close, right? Fingers crossed. In the next few weeks. To tell me a little bit more about that deal, how that came about, what you liked about the deal, and kind of how you structured it with investors and your partners.
So this deal is a 49 unit Class A asset that was built to be sold as condos, but the owner ended up running it as apartments. So it was built in 2011, and it's in the Washington, D.C. area, in one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in the Washington, D.C. area. So this deal was brought to us by our partners on the deal as well. And so the great thing about the deal is the condo conversion exit, which is a strong in the DC market. So the deal structure with a 7-year hold and a condo conversion exit at the year 5 and 6. And with that, we're able to give our investors a pref rate 7% with a waterfall structure. Most of the catch-up distributions is at year 5, but the average annual returns is somewhere around 25% and 2.5x multiple on the deal. And it's a great deal for this market, right? It's unique for the DC market because it's a strong condo market. It's a high growth market with Amazon and everything that's coming to this front. So it was a perfect deal to have in this kind of a situation with COVID and everything that's happening. So it was a much easier deal. And with the network that we had built over time, it was a very easy deal to get our investors on. And we're grateful to have that opportunity to have our investors on this kind of a deal. Yeah.
How do you find most of your investors? I think anyone who's an aspiring syndicator, you know that you have two problems, right? Finding the deal and finding the money.
Yeah.
Found the deal, and it seems like you found the money. Is it just through your networking, or do you have
Through the networking?
platforms?
So one important thing is tell everybody you know that you're doing multifamily investing. Like shout it out from the top of the moons if you can. Even somebody that you know is not going to invest, they need to know. Like Grant Cardone says, if somebody doesn't know that he's doing multifamily, it's his fault. So that is something we did not do when we had the 192 doors, and we learned a very strong lesson from that. And it's not about bragging or talking, but you'll be surprised at the number of people that are looking for assets like this, or that might have seen something online, but they're not too comfortable talking to the person that they saw on there, but they know you. They've worked with you. They've seen your work ethic. They're comfortable with you, and they could talk to you about stuff like that. That's exactly what happened to us. Like initially, I was doing this at my profession. I was keeping it quiet, but the moment I opened my mouth and started talking, a lot of people were coming to me and wanting to know, oh, I heard you doing this, or I'm really interested. So a lot of the investors came from my personal network, you know, and so we do accredited investors only, and we didn't have any issue with getting enough accredited investors for this deal. We actually had to turn some people down. And a lot of these people are from our network because, especially now, with everything that happened in the market, everybody is looking for alternatives to invest in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, you never know who's looking to invest in real estate. And so many people as well, I feel like I found this, that everyone's interested in real estate in some form or another. You know, there's nobody that really hates real estate. They're like, oh, real estate's a terrible investment. You hardly ever hear that, and everyone wants to be in there. And so the more you talk about it, like you said, and you shine a light on yourself and what's going on and what's possible as well, you know, a lot of people think that by raising money, you're doing yourself a favor. You're just looking to raise money for yourself. But I see it completely differently. I see it that you're giving these people a great investment and a great place to put their money, and you're helping them and their families to have a brighter future, you know. And I think it gets misconstrued sometimes that you're just out to get money. You're hungry to be a raiser or whatever. But that's not the case, you know. And I'm sure that's the case with you. You're trying to help these people out, and you know that shows, you know, when to be oversubscribed is a beautiful thing, I'm sure, especially after that first deal, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it's you got to change the perspective in your mind, right? You as a person that's presenting the deal, because you're not taking people's money, you're providing opportunities for people to grow their money. And once you change that perspective in your mind, you're better able to present these opportunities to people and for people to see it as opportunities. Again, like you, and it's not every deal that you do or every opportunity that you present that people want to invest in, and it's okay, right? So you might have some opportunities and people might not want to be part of it, so that's totally fine. So we present these opportunities, and the people that want it, they take advantage of it, and they grow their wealth as a result of that.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So what was the raise on this one? What did you need to raise? How much was the purchase price, if you don't mind me asking?
So the total raise on this one was $7 million, and the purchase price was 19.6 million.
Okay, it's a good amount of money raised, and it's a good purchase price.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a nice solid deal. So we're happy to be part of it.
Yeah, I'll have my fingers crossed for you until
Thank you, Barry.
I'm excited for you. Congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you, Barry. Thank you.
Cool. So as this show's called Wrestling with Real Estate, you know, I have to ask some wrestling real estate type questions. So the first one is, if you were a wrestler, what would your wrestling name be? Do you have anything? It can be as silly or as boring as you want. It can be ridiculous. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. The sleeper.
The sleeper. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That works. That works. And then in wrestling, all wrestlers, they have a signature move, something that's their strong point. What would your signature move in real estate be? What's your strong point?
My signature move would be to calm people down such that they go to sleep. Like any excited situation to bring the tension down.
Okay. But then in real estate, what do you think your strongest power is? Your superpower in real estate? What is?
I have to say it's my analytical. I love the analysis part of it. That's one of the reasons why a multifamily seems so natural to me. Like looking at the numbers and making sure everything makes sense. Yeah.
That's a great thing about multifamily to me as well. As long as the numbers make sense, the numbers will tell you what to do more often than not. You know,
absolutely.
You're trying to figure out, you know, what to, you know, should you put washers and dryers in a unit? Well, the numbers will tell you how much more can you get in rent and how much.
Exactly. So it's all numbers based. You could tell the story and develop the story based on the numbers that you're seeing. So I love that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in real estate investing? What's been the biggest gut punch you've had?
I'll say it was probably with that the 192 door, like the investors pulling out in the towards the end. That was like a big gut punch because we were really excited about that project and being part of the management team, but that pull out, at that point it seemed like a really bad gut punch, but it was a good one because I say when you wake up from the gut punch, that's when it was a good one because it was a good wake up call and it helped us do a lot of changes on how we run our business that has made things better.
What, if you don't want, I'm sure we could all learn. What changes did you make?
Marketing was one big one. Marketing was one big one, and focusing on the value that you provide to other people, giving value to people. So from that, we had not done a great job at marketing ourselves at all. Afterwards, we invested more in our marketing. One of the things we learned is important to, one of the key factors of investing in your own business is the marketing aspect, because if nobody knows what you're doing, they're not going to work with you. So yeah.
Right. And if you don't mind me asking, what kind of marketing are you guys doing? More social media or more?
Yeah, we do social media. We do YouTube. We started running some self ads on Facebook and YouTube as well. And we're creating a lot of content, a lot of free, valuable content that we share out to people. Started a blog that we release weekly articles on. Started creating like marketing videos that we sent out to our people, and just talking more. And again, just going with that approach of telling everybody that we see or meet that this is what we do, this is what we're working on.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's definitely, you guys are definitely hitting in the marketing hard. That sounds really good.
Yes.
So what was there a moment when you were standing on the top rope, you're getting ready to jump into the ring, but you were scared? And if there was, what was it, and how did you overcome this? So we kind of spoke about it earlier.
It was when I was trying to buy the first property. Yeah, you're just scared, didn't know what to happen, thinking that this might not work out, things might go bad, all this crazy stuff in my head. But I ended up jumping in, and it was a good thing I jumped because I enjoyed the whole process.
Yeah, and you might not be doing what you're doing today, right, if you hadn't taken that first step.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Leslie. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. You've got an infectious smile, and I really enjoyed. I probably smiled more than I ever have, maybe on an interview.
Thanks, Barry. I'm glad. I really enjoyed the conversation as well, and thank you so much for having me on your platform.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So, if people want to get in touch with you and they want to find out more about what you and your company does, how can they get in touch with you?
So again, my name is Leslie Awasom. Awasom is my last name. You could find me on LinkedIn. You could also come to our company website, which is www.xcapital.com. That's xsitecapital.com. And you could come over there. You could also join our Facebook group, which is the Exciting World of Multifamily Investing, or our Meetup, which goes by the same name, the Exciting World of Multifamily Investing Meetup. Please come join any one of our platforms. Let's keep networking, helping each other grow. And if there's anything we could do to help you in your journey, your growth path, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or any one of my partners, Julius or Tenny.
Fantastic. And I'll put the links to all that in the description below so everyone can find you there. So
thank you.
I love those names, by the way. Exciting.
World of multifamily investing.
It is absolutely.
It's an exciting world. It's an exciting journey once you get into it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I encourage everyone to do that. So thank you so much once again for giving up your time and sharing with everyone. It's been a really fascinating and enjoyable talking to you today. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. And yeah, it's just thank you very much.
Thanks, Barry. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Before you go, I wanted to extend an offer to you. It's a free 30-minute call with me. I love to talk about real estate, and I'd love to get to know any of you out there. So if you're interested in talking more about real estate with me, there's a link in the description below, and you can sign up there and find a time that works, and we can get on a call and we can talk about real estate, my favorite thing to do.